Welcome to Bloomberg's Inside Series, where we go into some of the world's best-known companies. I'm Olivia Stearns, and today we're going where cameras never have gone before. Join me as we go inside De Beers. It is a name synonymous with the diamonds they produce. De Beers, the world's largest diamond miner, founded in South Africa back in 1888 by Cecil Rhodes, the British pioneer who also founded Rhodesia, now modern-day Zimbabwe. Then for 8 decades, it was controlled by the Oppenheimer dynasty, who in effect ran a cartel controlling the world's diamond market. But in 2011, that control came to an end, with Anglo American buying the family's controlling stake for more than $5 billion. Headquartered in Johannesburg, De Beers operates mines in South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, and Canada, owning more than 13,000 square kilometers of land. That's equivalent to the size of 389 Central Parks, or about 8 times the size of London. In an area so large, it isn't easy looking for a stone so small. Last year, De Beers workers traveled more than 2 million kilometers by road in search of the precious stones, or about 1.3 million miles. That's long enough to go from the Earth to the Moon and back almost 3 times. But the trek seems worth it. The diamond giant mines around 30 million carats worth of diamonds each year, and had sales of about $7.5 billion in 2011. They extract diamonds from both above and below ground, on desert beaches, at the bottom of the ocean, and even beneath an Arctic lake. But most of its diamonds come from southern Africa. In fact, 43% of all diamonds produced by Value come from this part of the world. But working with diamonds also means De Beers has to contend with theft. In 2010, more than $2 million worth of diamonds were stolen from a single factory in Namibia alone. Not enough, though, to make a dent in the profits of a company which hasn't posted a loss in decades. They're the hardest substance on Earth, diamonds. So what does it take to go from shovel to shop? Let's start at the source. Well, a large quantity probably came from here, De Beers' Jwaneng mine. You're looking at the world's richest diamond mine right here in the Kalahari Desert of central Botswana. This really is the crown jewel in the De Beers empire. It's a dusty and slow journey into this pit, so big that it falls into the super pit category. And in a few years, it will be deep enough to fit 2 Eiffel Towers end to end. Trucks descend empty, line up, and wait their turn at one of the biggest machines in all of Africa. Standing at some 65 feet, it took 40 trucks and 6 rail cars just to get it into the mine. Some pretty good exercise. How many scoops fill up one truck?
3 scoops.
3 scoops,
Yeah.
Wow. How much does a shovel like this cost?
Each one of this equipment costs 180 million dollars.
And what's that in dollars?
That's about 25, 30 million US dollars.
Do you think I can give it a try?
I wouldn't take a chance. I'm sorry. You'll have to undergo 6 months training first.
But $30 million for a machine isn't even De Beers' biggest capital expenditure. That honor might actually go to its tires. Whoa, so Titus, this machine is pretty huge. How much does one of these tires cost?
Each one of these is about 40,000 US dollars.
Wow, 40,000, and there's 6 per truck?
6 per truck.
And how many trucks?
There's 16 of this size, the 300-ton commercial trucks.
So all in all, the whole fleet, how much do you think you spend on tires a year?
This, it's about, for this size of tires, it's about 3.4 million.
Wow.
And for the other tires on the other side of the pit, it's about 6.8 million.
And once loaded on those $10 million tires, each load starts making the long journey out of the pit. Now, once the diamonds finally make their way out of the mine, there are a few more stops, though, before they end up as polished perfection in stores like the one behind me. It's a jewel thief's dream. So much so that you simply push millions worth out of the way without hesitation and sweep in the next bunch. Small diamonds, big diamonds, clear diamonds, and dark ones. Welcome to the DTC, the Diamond Trading Company. This is the Rough Diamond Distribution Center for De Beers. This is the middle step in between the mines and the cutters. What we're doing here is sorting the stones. There are almost 12,000 categories. The most important things, though, are the 4 C's: cut, color, clarity, and of course, carat. Think of DTC as a bridge. All the stones that De Beers mines, not just in Botswana, come through here. They're mixed and sorted before being sold. Most sales are to pre-selected customers, called site holders. It's an elite club of less than 100 jewelers, and entry is by invite only. Upset De Beers one year, and you might not be back next. We visited one site holder to find out what happens to the rough diamonds.
Basically, we'll take the parcel. This stone is a 8.193 carat. We'll scan the stone in this machine.
Okay.
Then what he'll do, he will try and maximize the profit out of each and every stone. We'll see the outskirt is the rough diamond, and we'll try and plot, in this case, 2 round diamonds.
Wow, so basically the computer picks the most efficient way
Exactly.
to maximize the most different diamonds.
Exactly. Once we decide that this is the best way we want to produce that stone, the machine will mark a laser line in the middle, this yellow line.
But you totally trust the computer program to come up with the most profitable equation.
Yes, but obviously we have our guys which will determine what is the best way. It's not only what the machine will decide, they will know the market price.
Next, the stones are cut by lasers, rounded off, then sent for polishing.
You like to polish?
Sure.
Okay. You'll put it gently here. You can hold it.
Okay.
Hold it here. And put it gently against the
Whoa,
pot.
whoa.
And slowly, slowly drop it until it touches. Slowly, slowly.
I feel like I'm burning
And you can leave
money.
it there. And when you finish, you check what you did with the look.
Not bad. I have to say not bad at all.
You've done well.
Thank you. Now, diamonds are sure to be on many people's holiday wish list this season. But just why are we all so obsessed with diamonds? We're going to tell you how diamonds became part of pop culture after the break. Welcome back to Inside De Beers. Now, "A diamond is forever" is one of the best-known advertising slogans of all time. It's in movies, it's in music, it's everywhere. But it all started with an idea from De Beers and an advertising firm half a century ago. If you want to profess your love, there's no better gift than a diamond. But it wasn't always the case.
A diamond is forever De Beers.
Back in the 1940s, De Beers and ad agency N.W. Ayer did something remarkable. They invented a slogan that became part of pop culture.
You know, the marketing strategy really twofold, focus on building the engagement ring tradition and associating diamonds with love and that tradition. And then the second tier was always about making sure that they were glamorous and aspirational and beautiful. It's probably not an accident that Marilyn Monroe was singing about diamonds and a girl's best friend.
But diamonds are a girl's best friend.
I do think, though, the James Bond connection is a fascinating one.
Who are you?
My name is Bond. James Bond.
If you watch carefully, particularly in the Sean Connery films, you hear De Beers referenced a lot.
Diamonds are forever, forever.
It's been, I think, good for Bond and probably pretty good for us in terms of awareness of the line of Diamonds Forever.
Diamonds are forever. A slogan so successful, Advertising Age calls it the best campaign of the 20th century.
It was, in one sentence, really the full cover of what a diamond should mean for somebody wearing it. So it was just a little bit of a genius sign at that time.
I think De Beers as a Diamond is Forever campaign really was a revolutionary campaign, because you've got to remember that before that campaign, which began about 1940s, diamonds weren't really treasured. They were seen a bit in America, they weren't seen in the UK, they weren't seen in Japan. They weren't even the rarest stone. A ruby is the rarest stone. And then making sure it became a symbol of romance is one of the most effective campaigns in the history of marketing.
More than half a century later, the Diamond is Forever campaign still resonates. So at De Beers, diamonds aren't the only things that stand the test of time. For nearly a century, De Beers has run all of its trading operations from here in London. Now, though, the company is moving, and starting next year, De Beers will be sorting billions of dollars of rough diamonds like these from down in Botswana. A diamond in the rough. It's a fitting metaphor for Botswana itself. The country has gone from one of the poorest in the world to middle income in just 50 years. The economy is booming, growing over 8% annually on the back of its mineral wealth. But it's not simply the country's diamond reserves fueling growth. It's also its unique relationship with De Beers. De Beers is 85% owned by Anglo American and 15% owned by the government of Botswana. The actual mining operation in Botswana is a 50-50 joint venture with the government called Debswana, part of a lucrative 40-year deal that's turned the country's economy around.
In terms of the revenue, they get a lot more than the 50%, because they get a mineral royalty, which is typical of any country, and they get normal income tax. So the actual split of revenue is about 80 to 20. But these are the richest mines in the world.
Diamonds remain the single biggest contributor to GDP in Botswana, around 30%, and now account for almost 80% of total export earnings. Today, the JV is working on new ways, though, to spread the wealth. For the past 80 years, De Beers has run its sales operations out of these offices here in London. But now, as part of the latest 10-year deal, they've agreed to move these operations away from here. To here, in Botswana's capital, Gaborone, in a new extension still under construction. The government wants Botswana not to be just a place to mine diamonds, but to become an actual industry hub.
It's going to take some time, because this is the beginning of a new era for Botswana and for Gaborone. But we are working very closely with the Republic of Botswana, with all the officials there, to bring Gaborone, the capital of Botswana, up to the standard of a big hub like Antwerp, like Tel Aviv. It's going to take some time, but we are working closely together to make it happen.
Currently, 4 out of every $5 earned by Debswana goes into public funds. The results are visible on the streets. The money is funding roads, schools, and hospitals, including one of Africa's most comprehensive treatment programs for HIV. De Beers' joint venture with Botswana became the first company in the world to offer all of its employees free antiretroviral drugs and their dependents. Since then, the program has expanded with government help and now offers everyone in the country who needs it these life-saving drugs.
With the coming of the program, a lot of people have been able to go on treatment, and we are saving lives, basically. I do not believe there's a person in this country who has not lost their relative due to HIV/AIDS, especially since before the program. But now the mortality rate has come down hugely. We hardly hear of HIV-associated death anymore. Every Botswana knows that this is because of the diamonds that are coming from the mines.
Coming up after the break, we speak to the CEO and find out what the move to Botswana means for De Beers. Welcome back to Inside De Beers. Now, London has been the heart of De Beers for decades, but the soul of the company is still in southern Africa. I spoke to the CEO, Philippe Mellier, about the company's move from London down to Gaborone in Botswana. Mr. Mellier, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us. We've just come back from this fabulous trip to Botswana, so I thought we could start by talking a little bit about Botswana. Tell me, if you will, where do you see Botswana fitting into the De Beers empire? Would you perhaps say it's the crown jewel?
Yeah, it's the crown jewel because most of our diamonds are coming from Botswana. Our two biggest mines, Jwaneng and Orapa, are in Botswana. The government of Botswana, the Republic of Botswana, is our second shareholder with 15%, and we are in joint venture in Botswana with them, 50-50 in a company called Debswana, which is operating the mines there. And we are also together in the sorting center in Botswana. So we are very, very much interlinked. And this has been a public partnership going on for ages now. It's a very, very successful partnership. So I spend a lot of time in Botswana. I will be there next week. And this is clearly one of the big centers of De Beers today.
You're in the midst of moving more of your sales and trading operations down to Gaborone, down to Botswana. Why does that make sense?
It makes sense because most of our diamonds are coming from there. We signed last year a very, very important sales agreement with the government of the Republic of Botswana. For 10 years, we will have the bulk, 90 or 85% of the diamonds being produced in Botswana sold to us. So I think it was a fair negotiation, very long-term partnership, 10-year sales agreement, which is a unique thing in our business. And as a result, we are going to transfer our sales operation there. So I think that's win-win for both sides. And it's also quite interesting. Our diamonds will stay in Botswana. We will bring the other run of mine, as we call them, down to Botswana from Canada, from South Africa, from Namibia, to be aggregated, to be sorted. So it's going to be a shorter lead time and turnaround time for our diamonds to be sold.
Do you think that Gaborone could perhaps one day rival Antwerp or Tel Aviv?
It's going to take some time because this is the beginning of a new era for Botswana and for Gaborone. But we are working very closely with the Republic of Botswana, with all the officials there, to bring Gaborone, the capital of Botswana, up to the standard of a big hub like Antwerp, like Tel Aviv. It's going to take some time, but we are working closely together to make it happen.
How is the progress actually coming along for the move?
We are, in terms of moving our operation down to Botswana, we are 2 months ahead of schedule. So we are reviewing the situation every month with the official down there, and it's working quite well. We're also working on all the infrastructure, which are going to be required to receive our customers in Gaborone. And the deadline is the end of next year. We are well down the path, and things are working okay. So far, so good.
One of the key parts of the De Beers empire has been this signature campaign, A Diamond is Forever. You know, Ad Age called it the most successful advertising campaign of the 20th century. Why do you think that campaign was so powerful?
I think it was the first time we were linking the diamond with its values. Forever, why? Because a diamond is going to last forever, doesn't age, doesn't change, it has been created 2 billion years ago, and I hope will carry on for another 2 billion years. And it's also very much linked with eternity, with love, with passion. So it was, in one sentence, really the full cover of what a diamond should mean for somebody wearing it. So it was just a little bit of a genius sign at that time. I think this was created in 1947, and is still very, very much up to date today. A diamond is forever covers everything we want to say.
Now that the industry has changed so much and De Beers doesn't have such huge control over the market, there seems to have been a shift from marketing diamonds as an entire category of commodity towards marketing De Beers more just as a brand.
I would just, unfortunately, cut you. Diamond is not a commodity. It's a luxury product. It's not something like copper, for example. So we are marketing diamond as unique pieces. Not two diamonds are equal. And we categorize diamond in 12,000 categories just to show you the complexity of what we produce. So it's, we were the diamond industry. The company was founded 120 years ago. We were the diamond industry. And in the last 10 years, a lot of things have changed. And now we are still, by value, the biggest producer of diamond in the world, but we are one among others. So we are open to competition. We have other producers. We have a fair competition between all of us. Therefore, we have to talk about De Beers diamonds, which are the most beautiful in the world, and we have to compete other diamonds coming from other mines around the world. So it's very important that we keep the diamond equity, the values of diamond. Diamonds are forever, but we are focusing a lot on our diamonds, and we do that through two channels. Our marketing campaign through the Forever Mark diamonds. We are selling and we are promoting Forever Mark diamonds, one of the brands of the De Beers Group, all around the world. We have launched it all around the world. The latest launch is now in the US. And we are also promoting De Beers diamonds through De Beers Diamond Jewelry, the shop we are here today.
So De Beers helped make diamonds into sort of a cultural imperative. You know, diamond engagement rings became an integral part of getting married in many cultures. Do you think, though, that now that you're not generic marketing diamonds as a category, not as a commodity, do you think that there's sort of a risk that you're going to lose that sort of cultural connection of diamonds?
No, I don't think so. Clearly, the shift to diamonds for engagement ring or wedding ring has been happening in the US, has been happening in Europe, but is a recent phenomenon in China, and we still have to see it to a great extent in India. So we are working with our site holders, our customers, to promote diamond as a piece of jewelry which is absolutely essential when you get engaged or when you get married. So we still have new potential customers to convince, and the campaign is now being run all around the world in new countries like China or India to promote diamond. A few years ago, China and India were gold-only markets, and diamonds were a very, very small part of the jewelry market. And in China, it's more and more opening, and India, we are seeing some very small sign that, yes, we have a lot of potential. So the market still has to open, and we have some great prospect there.
Okay, I definitely want to talk to you all about your market outlook in those regions, but you mentioned the history. Let's go back to that for a second. Yeah. Last year, the Oppenheimer family sold out to Anglo. What does the new ownership mean for De Beers?
The family decided to sell, and they had 40% of the shares, and now, as a result of it, Anglo American has 85% of the shares. The government of the Republic of Botswana has 15%. But for a long time, Anglo American was our biggest shareholder. We were once, not so long ago, part of the Anglo American group. So it was a natural home for the shares of the Oppenheimers. So we are back in Anglo. Both companies were founded by the Oppenheimer family. We are not leaving the family in a way.
Is there perhaps a push, though, for more transparency or any changes to business practices now that you have to go back to sort of compiling with FTSE listing requirements?
Yeah, we have to be open, and we have to comply with the requirement for listed company, because Anglo American is a very big listed company. But even if we were a private company before, we were still at that time communicating our results. So the transparency and the openness we are going to have today is not very different from what we were having in the past. It's not a big change for us.
The industry and the business model have both changed so much in the past couple decades. De Beers, of course, has widely been accused of operating as a cartel. First of all, is that a fair accusation?
Well, it's a long time ago, and certainly a long time before my time. You know, we were the diamond industry, and we were coming from the past with maybe ways of doing business from the past. Today, we are, I think, totally integrated in the new luxury world of today. We have competitors, we are a leading company, we are not dominating, and we are just fighting to make sure that the best diamond in the world are De Beers diamond. This is what I am focusing on today. The past is the past.
Well, some analysts say that we've now moved from a cartel to sort of an oligopoly, that there are still just a few players in the market. Do you think that's right?
That's not true. No, we are by volume the biggest in the world, but in terms of carats, our competitor Alrosa in Russia is producing more carats than us. and we have big companies like Petra or Gems emerging around the world. We have Rio Tinto, still quite big in diamonds. No, we are not alone, and we have, I can tell you in terms of pricing of our product, quite a tough competition day to day in the marketplace. We have changed.
So now you've seen what cameras never have before, the inner workings of the world's best-known diamond company, De Beers. I'm Olivia Stearns. Thanks for watching.